When we think about solving huge global problems, we usually think about strength, right? Power. But what if the real key wasn't strength, but flexibility? Today, we're diving into a really clever diplomatic strategy emerging from Southeast Asia that is every bit as resilient as its name suggests: bamboo diplomacy. Okay, so imagine you're in a club where any single member can block any decision. Just one no, and everything stops. Now, what happens when a massive crisis hits? Well, that's the exact challenge facing ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And here's the incredible irony. The very principle that was designed to protect all its members, this idea of consensus, is now threatening to paralyze the entire organization. So how on earth did a promise of unity lead to a state of near total gridlock on some of the most critical issues they face? Let's take a closer look. It all comes down to something called the ASEAN Way. For decades, this has been the absolute bedrock of the group. Every single decision has to be unanimous, and crucially, no country is allowed to interfere in another member's internal business. It's a whole philosophy built on mutual respect and total sovereignty. On paper, this was supposed to guarantee unity and stability. But in practice, it's created a huge peril: paralysis and inaction. The veto power that comes with consensus can actually be weaponized by a single member to block any and all meaningful action. And you don't need to look any further for a perfect example than the ongoing crisis in Myanmar. ASEAN actually agreed on a plan, the 5-point consensus, to deal with the situation. But progress has gone nowhere. It's completely stalled. Why? Because the military junta in Myanmar can effectively veto any attempt to enforce it, leaving the rest of the group pretty much powerless. But, out of this intense frustration, a new, really elegant idea is starting to take root, and it's inspired by an ancient metaphor: the wisdom of the bamboo. This idea is so simple, but so powerful. Think about it. Bamboo can sway under immense pressure from incredibly strong forces, but it stays deeply rooted, and most importantly, it doesn't snap. This is the guiding principle for a whole new approach to diplomacy. And this isn't just some poetic idea either. It has real historical weight. For centuries, Thai diplomacy has used this exact concept to navigate the pressures of being surrounded by great powers. They've learned to adapt to the changing political winds without ever breaking or losing their core identity. So let's actually define this strategy, which is now being called bamboo diplomacy. Bamboo diplomacy is all about resilient flexibility. It takes an informal idea that's been around for a while called ASEAN-X, which basically means the group can move forward even if some members, the X, don't participate. This whole strategy is designed specifically for high-stakes crises like the one in Myanmar, where just sitting around and waiting for everyone to agree is simply not an option. So how does this actually work on the ground? Well, the answer lies in something called the Troika Plus. So the Troika Plus is essentially a small, agile working group. It's made up of the past, present, and future chairs of ASEAN. That's the Troika part. And then you have the Plus, which includes other member states who are directly affected by whatever the crisis is, like neighboring countries. This way, you get both continuity and real-world expertise in the room. So here's how it plays out. A crisis hits, and the Troika Plus is formed. This smaller group then starts what they call parallel diplomacy, meaning they can take action on their own. But, and this is absolutely key, they always have to report back to the larger ASEAN group, which makes sure everything stays under the organization's official umbrella. And we're already seeing this in the real world. Thailand, for instance, has been hosting its own informal talks with the Myanmar military to deal with security issues right on its border. Now, with the old model, this might have looked like they were breaking ranks. But under bamboo diplomacy, it's a constructive, necessary step that doesn't need all 10 members to sign off first. It's a huge shift. It empowers the frontline states to tackle immediate threats without waiting for 10 different capitals to agree. What this new approach creates is a system of harmony, one that allows the group to actually move forward, even if its members are all moving at different speeds. And this is the truly brilliant part. The activist states, the ones who feel a responsibility to act, now have a way to do that. The conservative states, who prioritize non-interference, are reassured because these actions aren't binding on everybody. And for ASEAN as a whole, it gets to stay relevant and avoid fracturing over inaction. It's basically a win-win-win. What we're seeing is the birth of flexible consensus. It's a pragmatic, smart evolution of the old ASEAN way. It keeps the spirit of unity alive while making sure that one country's refusal to cooperate can't bring the entire diplomatic machine to a grinding halt anymore. So, as global politics seem to get more and more polarized and our big international institutions often seem stuck, you have to wonder, could this model of resilient, flexible diplomacy be more than just a fix for Southeast Asia? Could it actually be a blueprint for the future of international cooperation everywhere?